This might be a stupid question, but what is it like to not be depressed? Instead of the, what's even the point, kind of not getting out of bed. You get the, it's too warm in these covers, kind of not getting out of bed. I would probably say it's being able to healthily cope and handle your emotions when things go wrong. You don't immediately think of the worst outcome and you're able to stay positive. You think of your future and are excited of what's to come. When you take your finger from the button, it is no longer depressed. Pretty great. Imagine just waking up and thinking, hey, I think it's gonna be a good day, and just immediately enjoying your life and being focused on the day at hand. No lingering anxieties. No thoughts of dread. Plenty of energy. And the motivation to get some shit done. Basically imagine how you feel after a small bong rip and a cup of coffee. But you didn't need either. Depression is not instant suicide thoughts. Yes, some depressed people are suicidal. But it's not always that. Oh, I experienced it maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. It's so good it feels surreal. It's like having a fire blazing and actually feeling the warm glow while enjoying a cup of hot chocolate. I'm not sure I am depressed. So maybe I am. Most of the time I'm too occupied to notice. I usually try to do something every day that I would usually drag my feet to do. Like go for a long run or vacuum my truck. Doing those things makes me feel like I'm not willingly underachieving. So I guess it doesn't really feel like anything. Kind of boring, but a small hope that tomorrow, next week, the future will suck less. Fuck. There are many of us here. It's even more saddening. When something goes wrong, my initial thought is, that sucks. Next time will be better, because I know that good things can come even if this moment sucks. Because good things did come for me in the past. I've been depressed before. I guess the difference between then and now is that I have hope and belief that things change, so why can't they change for the better? If you're depressed though, I hope that things would start looking up for you too. Feels like a dark cloud has been lifted. The lows aren't as low. The highs are higher. And I am just genuinely enjoying things now. I'm hopeful for the future. I started an antidepressant a while back. And for me, it felt like my life AMD soul was filled with color again. I felt emotions a bit more. Not in a bad sense. But I did not realize how dull everything felt, good, bad, and in between. Even if I have a bad emotion per day, I try to accept it, ride it out, and let it happen. And it feels good to feel more. But being able to get up from bed and do things without massive guilt weighing me down is incredible. It took counseling, time, and my med all together. Kinda like the difference between living in California and living in upstate New York. It's not sunshine and rainbows every day. But the balance is more like 80 to 20 than 20 to 80. And even when it gets nasty outside, it never gets below freezing. It's an odd airy feeling at first. Suddenly it feels like a weight is off your chest and everything brings little bits of joy that you learn to cling onto and appreciate so much more. It's been a while, and to this day sometimes I still stop and go, I am so happy, as if I'd genuinely never believed I'd get there. Okay, imagine being only feeling sad on rare occasions, and imagine all the time between is not caring about anything. Also imagine looking up something and then getting really invested into it for one day only. People online at like 2 a.m. probably aren't the best audience to ask this question, lol. Having energy and motivation to do things. Not thinking badly about yourself. Not having that seemingly physical weight on you. Being able to talk with people without questioning yourself. Not overthinking every single thing. You wake up and don't dread getting out of bed. Every task doesn't take an hour internal pep talk before you start accomplishing it. You care if you fail at important things. Hanging out with friends doesn't feel like a chore. Most of all, you don't have to pretend to feel. Feelings just happen. Perhaps Thoreau was right, most men live lives of quiet despair. At best I am unfeeling. A few years ago I met up with my baby sister, having not seen her in 15 years. We played frisbee in the park and I was overcome with happiness. It was a beacon in the night. I have not felt happy since. For me, feeling nothing is okay. It is not pain. Like when you go on the street and see the traffic light. It is not just color. It is green and so eye-catchy, and you kind of feel 0.5% of orgasm just seeing that nice and round green thing. You, mythical grain, made a pun. But it's also exactly what it feels like when you're not depressed. It doesn't mean you never feel bad or even miserable. But it means when you remove the finger that got you down, the button springs back. Depression is a broken spring that can be repaired. Hang tough, friend. Dude, are you okay? If you don't remember life before depression, please ask someone for help. The last thing this world needs is for you to kill yourself. If you're ever on the verge of suicide, please try to get someone to talk you out of it. If no one in your personal life is willing, my DMs are always open. I'm going to say something controversial. Most people who say they are depressed are not. They are just going through a phase. Real depression is definitely out there, but not as big as people claim it is. The thing is, you have to ask people who have experienced depression. And who's to say they're not still experiencing that depression? You know what it's like to be depressed? Imagine not that. Okay, so I used to be one of those people that would say they're depressed but weren't actually. Because I didn't fully know what depression was. When I saw what depression really is, I was so fucking happy realizing that I was just full of shit. I mean, I'm not super happy. High school student. But I'm not depressed. I just kinda exist. If being depressed, for me at least, feels like cinder blocks in my eyes, shoulders and feet, then not being depressed is the opposite. I feel like I can literally support myself effortlessly on a physical level. When depressed, I tend to pass time by reading or watching anything. But with no real interest when not depressed. My curiosity is involved and feel motivated to engage with the content and try it myself. New experiences excite you. Challenging work problem? I bet I can crack it. New recipe with new ingredients? Let's have some fun. A movie came out that seems up my alley? Can't wait. Coffee pot finished? Time for the first cup of coffee of the day. For me, it's like when some annoying noise, like the squeaky motor in your refrigerator, stops. You didn't really notice it was happening. Part of the background noise all the time, but now it's quiet and you can feel the silence. Hear little noises. Taking antidepressants didn't make me dance through the Alps like Julie Andrews singing to the hills. But like, every once in a while I stop and search for those background thoughts, ya know. Dying might be okay, and they're just not really there. You just feel calm and don't really feel much. Sometimes you're a bit happier and sometimes you may be a little grumpy or sad for actual reasons. In my personal experience, it is a feeling of both having more energy and having more will to use it. Of course, it is real easy to fall back into depression if you aren't careful and never realize it. At least in my experience. If you have never been without depression, have you tried different antidepressants? I have had to switch a few times in my life as one low-C effectiveness. And each time the difference is startling. I don't want to get into a long debate. But having hope and having God in my life makes it 10x easier to shove that depression to the other side of the table. At least give it a shot. I get that people's hearts are so hardened these days. But you never know. Sometimes I get a few days without depression. It's like heaven. It's like if you were sick for days and then suddenly all of that sickness goes away. It's like seeing all your stonks down 50% and just laughing it off cause it was for the memes, * not financial advisor nor emotional advisor. Always have a goal in life. Without that people lose their connection with happiness. Hence why lottery winners often become depressed because their goal has always been to earn money and live a stable, healthy life. After that stability kicks in that they're never going to need to work again, they often feel lost and depressed and struggle to find meaning to their life anymore. Always have goals. I say to myself every day I feel very fortunate and must have something wrong with my brain to where I'm always a glass half full, happy type person. Even in the shittiest of situations I always find a silver lining, and every day I have something to look forward to. Maybe it's checking something out in a book or a game to play. I think having art in my life is a huge factor too. It's my life passion. You just seem more tired. Pretty much depression is like you get to nap more and you procrastinate 10x more. I think it means seeing a point in life. I don't really remember though. A really good thing to know is a severe lack of vitamin D. That by itself is enough to destroy you with depression. You never hear enough about this in mainstream day-to-day life. The same thing can happen with a severe lack of B12. You don't feel physically and mentally run down all day long. I never used to be depressed. I have my own house, a wife and an okay job. I work from home. However, I genuinely hate my life and I cannot find a way out of it. I just sit here going over and over it in my head wondering how I got to this point. It's looking back at younger me surviving intense and debilitating depression with gratitude for her valor. She faced it all, swam to the bottom of despair, grabbed the jewels of wisdom and clawed her way back through the ugly. I remember how scary it was to believe I was doomed to never feel good again. Depression is a tough fight. But you can win. Mescaline brought the light for me, and a high-fat diet, ice baths and exercise did the rest. Good luck on your journey, friend. You can win. It's easier to mindfully enjoy life and connect with people. I feel like depression is this dark fog that prevents one from loving themselves properly and makes it hard to savor the precious details of life. The worst part is not knowing or understanding why you're depressed from my experience. Some things might feel like shit individually, but when I take a step back it all sort of adds into a lump of okay. It's a rough road. But when you get there you will feel great again. Even though you may not remember you were happy once. You can get back there. You just have to stick around to finish the game. Depression comes in many forms. So it's not easy to say that there is a general feeling of what depression is like. For me, my depression makes me relive moments in my past that I feel I've done wrong in some way. However little it may be. Not having depression would mean feeling at peace about my mistakes. It would mean I would be able to simply just learn from my past and that be it. I would be able to sleep at night and I wouldn't have to worry about me thinking I'm a bad person. It's being lazy and procrastinating because you can. Not because you're sad. I know a woman who once told me that she doesn't believe that depression actually exists. It blew my mind to hear her say that because it made me imagine a whole different world where depression is just a fictional concept.